Hello and welcome to this demo on the Verify Execution feature. In this demo, we'll learn about the benefits of the Verify Execution feature and how to use it to validate if UI interactions are executed with the expected outcome. Let's get started. For this demonstration, we'll be using an existing process that logs into the Acme website. In the workflow, we can observe all of the activities utilized to access the website and log in. Let's run the workflow. We can see that it opens the browser on the Acme login screen and enters the predefined credentials in the workflow. Based on the output, our workflow ran without any errors, but we aren't logged into the Acme website. Imagine a complex process with multiple modules where the logging into Acme workflow is the starting point. In this scenario, a failure in this process would cause the entire automation to fail. However, even though the workflow ran without errors, it could still lead to unexpected outcomes in a complex business scenario. Here comes our rescuer. The Verify Execution feature allows us to confirm that an action was executed correctly by checking for the desired outcome. This feature is applicable to the activities of clicking, typing, and hovering. Let's utilize the Verify Execution feature to validate the successful login. How can we identify a successful login or any other action? We can do so by observing changes on the screen, checking for changes in other UI elements, and interpreting that the intended action has been executed successfully. Similarly, when verifying execution, we check if an element has appeared or disappeared, if there are any changes in the targeted text, or if there are any visual changes to the target UI element that indicate successful execution. For our use case, we can verify the login by searching for a UI element that isn't present on the login page, but becomes available after logging in. We can use the title of the dashboard page as a reference for our verification. To enable element verification, we can select Add Verification from the context menu of the Click Login activity. We're already logged into Acme. If you haven't logged into Acme yet, now is a good time to pause the configuration and do so. Let's indicate the dashboard element and confirm the selection. The display name refers to the name of the verification action that we use to verify the activity execution. This name is generated automatically based on our action. We can use the retry option to repeat an action if it doesn't produce the expected outcome, or when the verification fails. This option has a Boolean value of either true or false. We'll see this option in action later in this demonstration. The target is the UI element that we use to verify the execution of this activity. In our case, it's the dashboard. To fine-tune the descriptor, this is where we can find all of the details about the targeting methods used to identify the UI element. Next, let's move on to the timeout property. This property controls the amount of time, measured in seconds, that the robot will wait before throwing an exception. If the retry option is set to true, the robot will repeat the action until it either exceeds the time set in the timeout property or succeeds in verification. By default, the timeout value is set to 10 seconds. The next important property for verification execution is the Verify Element property. With this property, we can choose from various options, such as an element appearing or disappearing, text changing, or visual changes occurring. Element appears checks if an element appears. Element disappear checks if an element disappears. Text changed will verify that the text of the verification target changed after the action. including going from blank to having text, or vice versa, or any other changes. Visually Changed will compare the before and after images using the existing Find Image function. The verification passes only if there was a change in the image of the verification target. In our case, we want to check whether the dashboard UI element appears after successful login. Therefore, we should keep the Verify Element property as element appear. Now at runtime, after the robot clicks the login button, it checks if the dashboard element appears. So, let's run the process and see what difference it makes from the previous run. Due to the Verify Execution feature, we received a runtime execution error this time. Based on the error information, we can conclude that our verification failed because the dashboard UI element wasn't found, indicating that the robot isn't logged in. So, let's acknowledge the error and let's go back to our Studio project. What could go wrong? Maybe our login credentials were wrong. So, let's add verification to type into email activity. We follow the same steps, and let's access the context menu of type into email activity. Is there any difference here with verification option? Yes, with the click activity, we have add verification option, but here we have add auto verification. It means that it can either auto-verify that the text is in control, or we can set an expected text to verify. So let's select this option. Here, automatically it considers the text that we've provided to enter. We can change the text here by going to the Expected Text property in the Property panel. And we can use this property in situations when we know that the target application processes the text after typing. Here, we can also use expressions to define our text. Keep in mind that this field supports only strings and string variables. For our case, let's type the username in the expected text field that we intend to log in with. All the other properties with respect to Verify Execution are the same as click activity, which we've discussed earlier. Now let's run the workflow. As we glance through the error info, we understood that the verification failed because the expected text was different from the typed text for the type into email activity. With this, we understood that we were trying to log in with the wrong username. Let's acknowledge the error and adjust the value for the username. Now let's run the workflow again. Great, it worked as expected. And we're successfully logged in. One common option available for activities with Verify Execution is the Retry option. Enabling it will ensure that the robot retries the execution of the activity if verification fails. Let's check it out. OK, now that we've configured our activities, let's run the workflow in debug mode. We can see it opens in the browser on the Acme login page. At this point, let's check if the robot retries the type into activity. While it's typing the email, we'll click the password to change the focus. The robot performs auto-verification for the text entered in the email field. And since verification failed, it retries. Once we log in, the robot also validates that the dashboard element is present. Great, it worked. We can also define these globally at the project level. To do this, we click on Project Settings, and under UI Automation Modern, we can find the Verify Execution section. In this section, we can define the settings that'll be applied to the entire project. For a quick recap, Use Verify Execution to check clicking the button, typing into field, or hovering over a UI element was successfully executed. Set Verification to check if an element appears, disappears, text changed, or is visually changed. Set Auto Verify for the Type Into activity to check if the text is in control, or set an expected text for verification. Use Retry option to retry the action when the verification fails. Here's a challenge for you. Build a simple automation using the other options with the Verify element under Verify Execution feature, such as text changed, visually changed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next demo.